My name is Cody Martin. Retired last year from active duty as a major in Special Forces. Originally enlisted as Private First Class Martin in Minnesota National Guard. That was back in 2005. Stayed there until I went to school at St. John's University, where I graduated as an officer and went to field artillery at that point before joining Special Forces later. Mentally, the hardest part I had was the dealing with bad leadership, actually. And that might be surprising to some, but I mean, no matter where you go, you have good leadership and you got bad leadership. The good leadership was amazing to learn from. The hardest part was being under directly somebody's command who was a terrible leader and having to figure out how to negotiate that, but then also take care of everybody you're in charge of to not replicate that bad leadership. The hardest one was where I'll spoil the ending here for you. I was arrested by our own government along with my team for basically violations of war. They called us criminals. They locked us up, and I'll tell you the story now. Now they got your interest. We were on a compound, and we were in the middle of nowhere out in Western Afghanistan, and we had an inside shooter. That's one of the Afghans that we were working with. He was tied very closely to some bad Taliban. Came down off the guard tower one day and lit up some of the soldiers we were stationed there with. Killed one, wounded a couple others. Just came down and sprayed him. So inside shooter incident. So responding to that, they were able to capture him. They brought us over. We got information from him. We questioned him. We sent him back over with the Afghans. What they proceeded to do was beat him to death. That information got out. It was blamed on us. We actually brought him back to our medical facility, gave him the care. He ended up dying on the table. And then during this, we thought we were under attack because we heard the gunfire. We heard a lot of people running. So a lot of things spun up at once. We had kids crawling up in the field out on another wall from us. So we thought maybe another complex attack because we had people crawling up in the dirt on the other side of us while the shooting was going on one direction. I was in charge at the time, and they asked me if they should, open fire on these people coming at us from the other direction. So absolutely not. Positively identify your target. Good thing to do because they were kids. They were trying to pick up brass to take home and sell for the families. So it's just utter chaos this time. You're trying to report to higher your command. You're trying to deal with the situation and trying to make sure there's no further threats to you or the entire base you're on. Somehow it got out that we apparently killed this guy, even though we were trying to help him. We were trying to do the right thing the whole time. The worst part of that was American newspapers got a hold of the story, called this guy a martyr, called us killers, slandered us very badly. And multiple newspapers from the US actually raised this guy as a hero. And nobody knew the real story. And we were not allowed to tell the story for a long time because it was under investigation for years. That was to be, I guess, attacked by your own country is a new perspective that you'll gain. And that was a very difficult time, something that you put your life, blood, and whole family on the line when you leave to do these jobs. And then you get turned around and get the finger pointed at you from your own police forces. That was probably the absolute most difficult training I've ever had because I put my heart and soul in this job. The service always meant the world to me. That's all I've ever wanted to do. And I pushed myself to be the best at it I could be, all the way up to being a special forces commander. And to have everything turn around and be told that, I'm nobody, I'm in trouble, my career's ruined for something I didn't do. That was a difficult time for sure. I mean, you're human, right? Like I've been in operations with these guys and, we're putting our lives in each other's hands. And to watch somebody die, one of your own guys die because somebody did a surprise attack, as a coward, is the first thought, we need to save this guy? Absolutely not. Taking that emotional step back and getting control of yourself, recognizing that you're still in position, especially as a commander, you need to make sure that you follow the laws of war. You need to make sure everybody is taken care of. You need to make sure you're managing everybody effectively. right? There's not a lot of time to sit there and stew in your hate for what just happened, your anger and frustration. Like, that's how you shut down. That's how other people shut down. All right, you got to step up. You got to put that aside and make these proper decisions. And that's why we're put in those positions in the first place, because they trust us to make those calls. And that's why it's so selective. So yeah, absolutely. Did we want other things to happen to this guy? Absolutely. But the important thing is, did we? No. We made sure we got the information we could so we could find out if there's further threats, turned him back into the custody of his own country. And then, the rest played out just absolutely poorly and somehow came back on us. Like I said, even though I was there, right there in the operating room, watching him try to save him when he died. Like, I was personally there. So yeah, that absolutely dilemmas. And that's something that's hard to get over. I'm not gonna lie, but it has to, because you're not just there. I always say you represent more than yourself, wherever you are, whoever you are, and wherever you go. I'm over there not just representing Cody Martin and my family, my reputation, and my honor for the rest of my life. It's my unit and also the United States of America. That's the patch I wear on my shoulder. Nothing like that can happen without a reaction, right? So there absolutely has to be a reaction. There has to be investigation. There has to be at least a pause in operations at that point. 100%. I fully support this. We have to make sure, we get to the bottom of what happened, why it happened, as much as we can. That part makes sense. What doesn't make sense is when the evidence shows that we're in the right and we did everything that we could right, despite all the ethical dilemmas that were occurring, and to still be pursued, and for have somebody say, no, somebody has to be punished. The Afghans aren't going to punish themselves, so it has to be one of us. Somebody has to come out being the bad guy here. So they just kept investigating us. That lazy leadership type of mindset, instead of just standing ground saying, look, no, that incident happened, it's over with, nobody's at fault for it, it's just one of those things that happened, and just leaving it at that requires somebody looking at another general standing the ground. Going back to my issue with poor leadership, there's always going to be somebody, with the political motivation, and that's just how it works on the higher rungs. The problem that I have not only experienced, but I also she just wrote a paper on this. The military is a completely different world. Okay, it's not another Starbucks, it's not another Target, it's not another Walmart. It's a completely different world. Okay, and the hard part is watching America get in the uproar and jumping on some bandwagons on subjects that they're not educated in, that affect our policies and how we do our job. And that is the greatest struggle, sitting back. And I just sit here and I just wish more would just educate themselves on what they're actually speaking about before people jump on these bandwagons and start waving their arms and hollering. That change our policies of how we do things. Some things need adjusted, absolutely, but there's a proper way to do it. There's a proper procedure for it. It's not responding to whatever largest crowd is yelling at the time. All right, in order to do the military, for the military to do their job and do it well and protect this nation, foreign and domestic, it needs to be set apart. It can't operate like everything else. And I think that's a perspective that's missing